Tried to hold us back, to hold us, tried to hold us back.
We will be here forever. Do you understand? Forever.
Hey, it's Shan here. Welcome back to another episode, another year of the podcast. And this week I start the year off with Chad Caruso. Chad is probably best known for his recent feat of skateboarding across America. Did it unassisted. He now holds the Guinness World Record for the fastest skate across America. He talks about that journey, the story, all the the media coverage that happened after it. He also talks about his YouTubing, his early days as a YouTuber, which is sort of how he got started doing like how to do videos, and his vlog. He also did the 50 tricks in 50 states journey. And he's just a really interesting guy who seems to go with the flow of life. I kind of thought I was going to be talking to someone who's like super motivated and trying to be inspirational and stuff like that. But he's just like a dude who just likes to set challenges. Talks about his sobriety journey and how that was quite influential on him being motivated to do what he does. Talks about being on the Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis podcast, Hawk vs. Wolf. Talks about how Tony Hawk bought his skateboard that he skated across America with. And much, much more. We go into depth about content creation and being a YouTuber. I did find that interesting, and the challenge of, being identified as a YouTube skateboarder or a core skater. And we just delve into that a little bit. But overall, pretty relaxed convo. Great dude. So I hope you enjoy it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Tried to hold us back.
Get what I'm saying.
Tried to hold us. He tried to hold us vain. He tried to hold us back. What's the thing?
Child of the crayon, child of the light, stars of the neon belong to a culture destined to rock for eons. Time doesn't exist. Shut those cataracts, capture the virtualist. Now let's get back to what makes things seem forever, whether it's unseen, unheard, or it's 16 again. Not a bother. Feel this old man river.
And I was actually watching your vlogs, years ago, especially when you did was it 50 tricks in 50 states? Was that the right
Yep.
one? What motivated you to do that, out of curiosity?
Well, so I had a YouTube channel for a few years, and I came up with this thing, new trick every day for a month. So it was like right when I started YouTube, I get off of work and I just like race to the skate park, and I'm just like learning YouTube, making videos and learning tricks. And after I finished that, I was like, how could I top this? A year or two later, it like hit me, and I was like, holy shit, that's possible. Yeah.
Like, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, how old? How old am I? I'll be 37 in a month.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice. And you've been skateboarding your whole life, yeah?
I kind of got started late, like 13, something like 14, so maybe 25 years, 20, something like that.
Isn't that funny how that's considered late?
Now it's late, yeah.
Yeah. You skated across America. I kind of just want to get that out of the way early. An amazing feat. And I'm really curious as to, again, what inspired that originally. Was it just an offshoot of what you had already been doing on YouTube, and it was just a fresh idea?
Yeah, it was, as you hear the new trick every day, then the 50 states, it kind of makes sense, like the trajectory, like how am I going to top that? Like what's the next thing, and then I was just doing research, and I saw like no one like legitimately did it. Like people have crossed and maybe they took breaks or didn't measure it properly. So when I saw that, I was like, that's pretty interesting, and no one's really like concretely, cleanly done it. So, and I just became obsessed. Yeah.
Obsessed. Yeah. I think for me personally, I was so impressed by, not only were you pushing up to 50 miles a day, correct?
Mm-hmm. Every day, yeah.
But then you were like going back to wherever you were staying and then like editing your videos, which is a lot of work and exhausting as well.
Yeah. 57 days in a row, daily vlogging. Honestly, like people see the skate and they think that's the hard part. To me, it was the video editing, the filming all day long. Like I'm meeting people and I want to have genuine conversations and stuff, So I'm like trying to figure out ways where I could hold the camera like calmly, like subtly, so no one notices, because that changes like the dynamic, That was probably the hardest part.
I just could feel that actually.
Yeah.
And This is a bit of a random question. So you're quite predominant on YouTube and you have now done this amazing feat. Do you feel like it's actually helped you or has transitioned you into more than just a YouTube skater or vlogger?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like nothing's changed. Like it's the same thing every day. I just go skate. Like I don't even think about it. But I did notice that people that watch the Skate Across America, it kind of hit a different audience. Like 70-year-old people could watch it, like 13-year-old kids. It was kind of more generic, or more people could relate to the idea. The 50 states is like, if you don't skate and you're watching someone try a trick for 3 hours in a row, you're like, it's like a different language,
Yeah. Interesting, because I've noticed like since that, you've had a lot of mainstream media coverage. You've featured on some pretty amazing podcasts like the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast. And I guess I was just curious because me and my friends, we talk a lot about, there's YouTube skaters and then there's skaters. And it's very obvious from the start that you set out to be effectively a YouTube skater, right? So I guess I was just curious to see if it has actually opened up more opportunities for you, would you say?
I mean, it's kind of funny you say that because I started the first 20 or whatever, 18 years or something, being a core skater. Like that was the only way I actually was completely against like YouTube and filming and contests, like all that stuff, It wasn't until I got sober when I like embraced it and tried out this new thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. What the question was, did I get more exposure?
Well, no, has it created opportunities beyond YouTube?
No.
Yeah,
no. Almost honestly, it's like no. I've been on the podcasts and stuff like that, but really nothing came from those things, and no opportunities, no brand deal, like literally nothing. So it looks cool from the outside, but like everyday life is like exactly the same.
It's a tough world, I mean, I get really conflicted about the term content creation. It's content just seems so generic, but I just feel like there's a real sincerity to what you do, even with your vlogs. And I think that's why I was captivated by what you were doing originally. But I think also it's like this endless beast you have to feed. And is it really enhancing people's lifestyles or hindering them? What would you say?
What, just consuming content or creating content?
Creating content.
I mean, it depends on the person. It depends how they approach it. If you're like, if that's going to be your job and you just have to keep pumping it out, eventually, like the creativity well runs dry or it goes in waves. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're just having to pump it out every day to pay the bills, at some point it's going to like get exhausting mentally, or you're like forcing yourself to do things maybe you don't want to do.
Interesting.
But I run a food truck. I have other jobs and things. So I don't even like focus. Whatever happens with that is just kind of on the side.
Yeah, nice.
So if you see after the Skate Across America, I just stopped uploading until I'm basically psyched again, until I have another idea or like something. I don't know.
So it's not like it's your end game. It's not your bread and butter. You said you have other jobs.
And it probably could be if I like cared more. I don't know. Yeah. I feel like I care more about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it than making money on it. I've been skating for 25 years, so I don't know if I want to like milk that. I'd rather do it on something else, I don't know.
Dude. And Guinness Book of World Records have actually documented it as, can you clarify exactly what the achievement is in the Guinness Book of Records?
So it's written out as the fastest crossing of America on a skateboard.
Right. So it's not the first.
No, it technically is the first, but that's just how they word it.
Okay.
Yeah, because, all right, so one guy did it before, this guy Jack Smith. And when I was doing my research, I found out he did it with 3 people in like a relay where they each skated like 5 miles, rotated the whole time. They had like a car, it was just like a different thing. And then when Guinness looked into it, they were like, oh, yeah, he didn't actually do it. So you could set the record.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Man, you must be fit, bro. I was thinking that. And like, was your front leg just like massively like, did it just get really muscly? Like, I don't know. Like, did you have a huge one calf muscle bigger than the other?
No, because I push switch basically evenly the whole time. So they're half and half. If you don't, like your legs, you're done. Like you gotta push switch. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You were switching around, I guess.
Yeah. And it's tough because you're like going up hills on the side of the road. There's like little rocks everywhere, ridges, like to prevent the cars from like driving off the side. And like you got no room. So you're pushing switch and you don't feel comfortable. You're like, you want to go back to regular,
Yeah,
so
dude.
you end up like, beating up your one leg more, but you have to do what you can and balance it out.
Dude. And like, were you getting back to your hotel and just stretching, recovering? What were you doing?
Yeah. In the beginning I was, but with, like you said before, doing the daily vlogs, I get to the hotel, I eat really quick, and then I would just tackle this project like a 3-4 hour, thing of editing. All the day's footage, chopping everything up. I got to do the thumbnail and and it's not just that. You got to think, well, post it on Instagram every day too. And then you got to write a caption. Sometimes that could hold you up for like a half hour. You're like, wait, should I? Like, you know what I mean? You're just like, there's so many little details, like titling and like all this stuff. So
it's crazy. And you were doing it all on your phone.
Everything. And my whole YouTube channel for the past 7 years or whatever it's been, the whole thing's been on my phone.
Dude, that's so rad, man. Like, just so motivated. Like, just such a motivated human. I was just thinking about it. Like, where does your energy come from? Is it just pure passion?
I honestly have no idea. I've been that way since I was a kid. Like, if I get excited about something, I'm just all in on it,
I thought you would have had more sketchy situations. I watched it, and then I noticed in the last or the second last vlog, it was like, I think you're in Virginia Beach coming into the town, and you almost got hit by a car there.
Yeah,
but nowhere else in the whole trip.
Oh no, there was plenty. It's just how often can you be holding the phone to catch them? You know what I mean? There were times where I'm listening to headphones, and you get in the zone. You forget that you're on the edge of a highway, and you like step off the side, and you're like, car zips by your face, and you're like, oh wow, like I should probably turn my headphones down a little bit, or I'll die.
No way. And like, you didn't come across any like sketchy humans, like people wanting to roll you or things like that?
I mean, for the most part, nothing too crazy. No one like actually tried to rob me. I've had people like maybe they had drugs or were looking for drugs or a little sketchy. But when you're holding like a little camera, like picture like running up on me. I got this backpack. Like it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna pass this guy. It's probably not worth it. You know what I mean?
It's insane, dude. And
I don't look flashy either. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. What are you gonna get out of me? You're gonna lose something stealing from me. You know what I mean? I got nothing.
And again, that's what was so insane, that you just had the one backpack. And I remember at one point, I think you threw away a jumper or a jacket as well as it got warmer.
Yeah. So I had one, what was it? I think I had like 2 spare outfits to start.
Yep.
And then like the one I was wearing and then one in my bag. And I ended up just dumping the extra one because of the weight. Like you don't realize these little things, like a couple of items here and there, a charger, an outfit, and something else. And you're like all day long, you're wearing this weight on your back for 10 hours. It matters. So I just ditched the outfit. And at the end of the night, I throw on shorts, throw that in the wash. And then just every single night, like I had to make sure the hotel had a washing machine.
Interesting, man. Yeah. And you self-funded the whole trip, correct?
Yep, and the 50 states one too.
So can we delve into the difficulty of sponsorship?
Yeah, well, so
did you try to get sponsors for it?
Yeah. So I messaged or emailed like a bunch of companies. I thought it was pretty professional. I had decks, things written out, and I had already done the 50 states thing. So I kind of had like proof I'm gonna do something like this. It's not just some idea. But skate companies, my vibe, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I just got a vibe that like they didn't want to be a part of it, or maybe they were nervous too because like, how will they take it? Is this he's like half core, half not? Like, they don't want to ruin their name by going like on a YouTube skater. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how it felt. And then I'd message like Camelback and other brands, and they'd just be like, "Nah, it's not really up our alley." Like, some people would
shoes,
answer.
What about shoes?
I actually had some dealings with skate companies where I like emailed them, and they said yes. And then it almost seemed like they checked with like someone higher up, and they were like, "Actually, like, well, good luck on your trip. Like, we can't sponsor you."
So interesting. What about post event? You got some pretty good street cred from the likes of Tony Hawk, who actually went and bought your skateboard off you, correct?
Yep.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just because maybe I don't wear like a ton of brands, or maybe it's because I'm older. I really have no idea. Yeah.
It's a tough game, bro. It's a tough game. Man, I've got a question, but you don't have to answer it. I'm going to ask. Like, I've got to know, how much did Tony buy the board for? You don't want to say that?
I don't want to say because it's his personal information. You know what I mean? So he probably wouldn't care, but I just don't want to,
respect.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It wasn't like an insane amount or something. You know what I mean? But I appreciated that he was even interested in it, and threw me anything.
Yeah, were you surprised that he wanted to buy it?
Yeah. I mean, it made sense afterwards when I saw like his collection and like how much he loved, old skateboards and memorabilia and things like that. But at first, I was like, what? Like, when I got the email, I thought it was fake. Like, for it to come on this podcast, I was like, this has to be like, some scam or something.
So they reached out to you to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So, Jason Ellis is Australian. I used to watch Jason Ellis skate in Australia back in the day, and on vert ramps and stuff. So it's kind of a trip for a lot of Australian skaters, especially in my age range, to see Jason Ellis he was such a predominant figure on LA radio, and just to sort of see where he is now with that, I find it really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's been super consistent. That's what I take away from him. Like, he's just plowed away at it for years and years and years. He's like, I remember him being on like XM, just like on the radio, always having a show, always doing something, so it paid off.
Yeah, it did, for sure. How was that experience, though? I'm curious as a podcaster.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird at first. Like, anytime you walk in, you see a guy for like 30 years. Actually, he was one of the first skateboarders I ever saw, because my brother gave me a skate video called Propaganda, and Tony Hawk was in that. 91, I think it came out.
Yeah.
And so, it's my first video. So like 25 years later, the guy's interviewing me. You walk in, it's like, but then afterwards, it's just a normal conversation. He's just into skating just as much as I am. And,
just another dude, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's actually doing a open mic speak story night in Australia, in Sydney, in a few weeks. And I'm going with a bunch of friends, and he'll be on stage just telling his story. It's really going to be curious to see how they format an evening like that. But same thing, like, you feel like these people. I mean, my first ever skate movie was The Search for Animal Chin, and I think it was 1988. Yeah, I'm 46 now, and you do. You watch them in videos for 30 years, and you feel like they know you, right? And I feel like that's almost similar to what's going on in this world with these consistent YouTube creators such as yourself. You've got quite a large following. Do you have people approach you in the street now and feel like they know you because they watch your vlogs?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, and I'll see people like bring it back. Like they'll be like talking to me, and then they're like, "Oh wait, I forget. Like, you don't know me also." Like I see them. Like, sometimes they'll say it, or I could just tell. But yeah, it's common. More so in New York, or if I go to a skate park, because it's a pretty small niche. You know what I mean? So like, I don't have that many followers, But in skateboarding, it's kind of a lot, you know?
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's skating. Yeah.
It's skating. It's skating.
In our little world, you know? Yeah.
I think I really admire your humility. There's a humility about you that I find awesome. Can you tell us about your early life? Like, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Long Island, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy about it. I mean, it was nice having the city nearby, and just being in New York in general. I feel like it kind of ups the level of competition just being around like that hustle, you know? It's like overall, you just kind of like gotta be at a higher level. I could be completely wrong about that, but it just feels that way, you know?
Yeah, nice. And how would you describe your childhood? Like, you know, growing up in that environment, was it, you know, reflect on it with positive experience or feelings?
Yeah. Yeah. I loved it in New York. Both my parents, cool. They were into like Buddhism, yoga, things like that. Yeah. Yeah. So super chill, relaxed kind of parents, you know? And I had two older brothers. So one of them skated, the one that gave me the video. And they always like, you know, beating me up. I was always competing against them. And, you know, so that's what kind of made me, I guess, I don't know, just into like challenges and pushing myself, you know, I don't know.
Did you feel like you needed to prove yourself constantly?
I mean, I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was just like, I have to keep up with these guys. Like I'm playing a game and they're just kind of bullying me. You know, I have to like get better.
Okay. Interesting. And what about, how would you describe your time at school as a child? Were you a good student?
No, I was horrible since the start. Well, not since the start. All right, so I was like a good student, never missed a day of school, and then I went to the hospital one day, and they were keeping me in, and I was going to miss my first day of school. I like didn't want to. I was begging them no, and then once I did, I just basically never cared about school again. And that was in like fifth grade, you know what I mean? And then like the rest of my life, I just I got into skating, so then I was cutting all the time. I got left back twice, and then I just dropped out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how old were you when you got into skating? Exactly 13. So early,
Yeah,
like
13,
start of high
14.
school.
It's about blur between 12 and 14, I think.
High school, before high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. What were you into before skating? Did you have any other hobbies, like things that you were into?
I played basketball and baseball because that's what like my dad was into, my brothers. So I was like one of the best players on the team. I loved it. I went to like camps in the summer. I was just as intense about that stuff as skating. But playing on the basketball team after school, 3-hour practice or whatever it is, and then getting home skating, I was starting to get shin splints. I got Achilles tendonitis, like all this stuff. So I ended up just quitting the team and just both teams and just only skating.
Yeah, nice, dude.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to me. I used
Really?
to play. I played soccer from the age of 5 till 12, and then I found a skateboard. And I remember I was on the side. My friend brought it to the soccer game one day, and I'm at halftime. Like I'm trying to learn how to ollie on the grass with my soccer boots on.
That's
and
awesome.
I just remember thinking, I'll never play soccer again.
Yeah. After a certain point, once I found skating, everything just kind of got dull,
How'd your dad feel about that though? When you quit?
So he wanted me to keep playing sports, but he would drive me to a skate park occasionally, and he wasn't like against it, but he wanted me to like do well in school at least and like pass. I remember him making a deal with me. If you pass, I think it was 7th grade or something. If you pass, I'll pay for your trip to California. Because I've been begging, like, you're a skater in New York, you just want to go to California. That's where the whole scene is, and I failed. I couldn't even pass then. Yeah. So he tried.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So in terms of like, you said you left school. What did you do for work? Like, how were you surviving in the world?
Yeah. I was like, at a young age, I kind of hated the whole system. I was against it. And this was like before I never used internet. I just like hated the idea of like, you go to school, you go to college, 9 to 5. Like, I just didn't believe in that. Yeah, so I would work at a skate shop here and there, pick up odd jobs. I just like learning shit, so I would just do whatever, you know.
So always just odd jobs.
Yeah. I worked construction for like 6
I was
months.
gonna say labouring.
Yeah, honestly, anything. Worked at ran a moving company. Right now, I run a
Hospitality.
food truck as a
So you got a
server.
food truck.
Yeah.
What sort of food is it?
Mexican food. Yeah.
Right, tacos.
Yeah, a place
Dude,
called Swell Taco. The owner was from California. He moved to New York. Started like a California style Mexican restaurant. It's got like skate and surf stuff everywhere. Yeah, it's cool.
Man, I love Mexican food. We don't really have the greatest Mexican food here, but the Mexican food in Southern California was insane. I actually went to Mexico, and I feel like the Mexican food in Southern California was better than Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It's probably more of a palate thing, right? Because like it's probably more like Americanized a little bit, even, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Maybe it's more authentic coming from there, so it has a little bit of a different style. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you have dreams as a teenager to make it in skating, sponsored, things like that?
Yeah, I didn't know what that really meant, but I remember I said to myself when I was 14 years old, I was like, all right, make a living off of skateboarding, or like that's it. Like that, just drop out of school. Like that was my only goal. Yeah, that was it. Until I like started drinking, got a little older, and then I kind of just like threw that away. Yeah.
So, did you consciously throw the dream away?
Let's see. I mean, I remember one distinct moment. I was getting flow from S, and I worked at the skate shop, and that's how I got on S. And they gave me the opportunity to go meet up with the team and do a demo. So my friend drove me 4 hours upstate to do this demo. And I'm standing there, and like I didn't want to be that annoying kid like jumps on the course and tries to skate. And I couldn't find the team manager. I think it was this guy Scuba Steve at the time. Couldn't find him, and I just didn't want to be that kid to just jump out there. So I didn't skate. And I remember at that moment, I just felt like that was a pivotal moment. I was like, you're not cut out for like skating in front of people and contests, and like I kind of at that point was like, yeah, this isn't like your thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think some skaters hold on to the dream too long?
No, I don't think so. I mean, in a sense, I kind of still holding on to the dream by skating across America at 36 years old, you know? Like there's some truth to it, but I don't know. I think if you love it, like do it, you know? But the thing that frustrates me sometimes is people hold on to the dream, but they don't do the things to accomplish the dream. Like, it's like, yeah, you love skating so much you want to make a living off it, but you hate everything about like making money or this or that. Kind of conflicts. Like you're going to have to make it a job at some point, you know?
Like they're not putting in the work, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned your sobriety journey. I mean, it almost feels cliche these days to discuss sobriety journeys because a lot of people are talking about it online, which I think in public, I think it's fantastic. And it just turns out a lot of people are realizing that, hey, alcohol is not great, you know?
Yeah.
But do you mind if you share why you felt like it was something you wanted to let go of?
Yeah. So, I skated, like, you could tell how obsessed I was about skating, right? I did that, like, my whole life. I was, like, 22, and then I had a knee injury. Tore my ACL and PCL in my knee. Then did the surgery. I was, like, pumped to come back. Right when I healed, 6 months later, some kid crashed into me at the skate park, tore my MCL in the same knee. And that kind of knocked the wind out of me, I was just like, and that's when I went more into, you're hanging out with friends, partying, and I kind of, I still skated, but that more like cool guy, like, oh, just talk about skating. I don't take it seriously, And then that led to 2 DWIs, fast forward. So, I'm $10,000 in debt, putting other people in situations by borrowing money. And then that's when I realized, like, all right, something's got to change.
Yeah. I mean, to get, a D, we call them DUIs, but you call them DWIs.
Well,
So drink driving, correct?
There's driving under the influence, and then there's driving while intoxicated. There's like two separate things here you get in trouble for.
Oh,
And DWI is like more serious. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so that it really does highlight that maybe you have a problem there. Why were you drinking originally? Were you trying to numb something, or was it just because you wanted to party?
So, I mean, I was just kind of having fun, but looking back, I realized it was that desire to skateboard, to have the dream, like to be focused on just anything, like that obsession and that love for something was kind of gone. So when it left, it got filled by alcohol.
Interesting.
And it's an easy way to forget about your dreams and, talk about them and have fun and not think about it. And then 8 years go by and, you're in a completely different spot. It's just like.
How old were you when you first started drinking, if you don't mind me asking?
I got started late. I was like completely sober, I think, until like 19, 20.
That's interesting.
It wasn't really till I got injured when I started.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so because it sounds like you had quite a happy childhood too. I mean, that's quite a common one for people. It's like the trauma thing, and they've had traumatic things happen to them when they were younger, and alcohol does work in suppressing those dark feelings and emotions. But you're sort of saying for you it was, post-injury and letting go of a transitional period in your life, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely had to do with that, kind of giving up. My whole life was based on skating, you know what I mean? So when I gave that up, that hole got filled,
Just so funny because it's just a different perspective, actually. I actually haven't heard that one before. It's different. No, I really like it. Can you maybe highlight some ways your life has improved since you actually removed that from your life?
Yeah, I mean, I could fill a whole podcast with that, but it's like at first you get more energy, more excitement, more energy, more focus. You just motivate. That's how skating came back in my life, and the idea to try out YouTube, something I was against my whole life. I needed something to do. I was like, all right, I'll make videos, document what I'm doing. I'll make trick tips and share everything I learned. Which is a mindset I think came from getting sober. You get sober and you get clear, and I had this moment where I realized all I did was take from skateboarding my whole life for 15 years. All I ever did was take from it, and I never actually gave back. And that's when I was like, I'm going to get skate parks built. I'm going to get, and that's where that came about. And I think that happened because I got sober.
Dude, I love that you said that, man. Love that. I think, myself included, a lot of people think that skateboarding owes them something, or even the world owes them something. Yeah. And there's the famous Jake Phelps quote. And he said, skateboarding owes you nothing. He said, skateboarding owes you wheel bite in the rain.
Yeah.
And it's true. There's a lot of guys that are just sitting back expecting and wanting things from it. But, for me, it's a meditation now, skateboarding at my age. It really is. Picking a trick, and I've seen it in your videos, picking a trick and just chipping away at it, working on it. I love that process. You do too, yeah?
Me too. Oh, yeah. I mean, you could tell that 50 tricks in 50 states and stuff like that. It's I love doing that. Most people, when they look at that, they're like, you're insane. What are you doing? That's punishment, And I'm thinking, this is awesome. I'm feeling more relaxed there than I do, sitting at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you say you're more of a transition guy?
So that goes back to the injury a little bit. Right, I had the injury, so I jumped down stuff less. I was still doing it, but when I got back into skating, it just made more sense to focus on that because of my my knee problems. And I had a friend who did really technical tricks, and I started unlocking this one little area where I felt like no one was really exploring that much. So I was doing tricks that I felt no one was doing, or very few people were doing. So that just excited me. It was a new thing, just trying to help grow the encyclopedia of skateboarding, you know, like trying to do new tricks.
I love that. And like I love your lip trick combinations. Like you're like the master of it, dude. And you were skating that spine mini ramp. And remember there was one I was watching and it didn't have coping. It was just like a metal edge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like a spine, but it was like a wide spine.
Yep.
Like
that's my hometown park. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What state, what city is that in?
That's in Copeg in Long Island, New York.
Right. Because it didn't look easy to skate at all.
It's not. No, but I grew up skating that park. I actually, so rewind like 20-something years, and I petitioned to open that park when I was like 15 years old. Me and my best friend, we were getting kicked out of the spots and stuff like that. And our friend's mom was like, you should make a petition for a skate park. So we did, took it around, took a picture with the what was it, like the town supervisor, you know what I mean? Did like an opening day demo, all that stuff. And so I've been going to that park for 20 years. So I got used to that weird kind of coping.
So you're partly responsible for the creation of that park.
Yep. And now I just got them to renovate it. So it's going to be brand new cement park. Should be within this year and next year.
Yeah, I seen that on Instagram. Like I seen a story you put up that people were stealing the pool coping.
That was a neighboring park a couple towns over. But yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I actually found out who it was, and it was some like local skaters, and they used it somewhere else.
For like a DIY or something?
Yeah. It's like a pool, local pool. I ended up getting demoed anyway, but yeah.
And so then they're going to actually renovate that park or your original park?
Yeah, they're going to both of them.
Okay.
But mine is because I kind of petitioned, went to the town, talked with them. I pushed for it. And that one was more because they actually built that park on like a swamp or like something like underneath the grass. Like they built it where they shouldn't have built it, like an illegal spot basically. So it has nothing to do really with the coping, but it kind of all fell into place where they're like, all right, we got to fix this park.
So amazing. Yeah. I don't know what it's like in the States, but around the area I live in New South Wales, Australia, there since the Olympics, local governments have just been building skate park after skate park. It's insane.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, like just and like there's a few really amazing contractors in our country who have got it down to a fine art. And they're just building the best skate parks, and I'm almost like a little bit resentful because I'm like, why do all these skate parks have to happen when I'm in my late 40s? You know,
that's the best time. That's when you need them. You need that nice smooth ground, nice mellow ramps everywhere, bunch of options. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the growth of skateboarding in recent years? Are you feeling positive about it, or do you feel like it's turning more mainstream?
I literally never think about it. Like I don't. Yeah, I really don't care. And I think, I like that there's more skate parks for people to use. That's cool. And I want to help get more parks built for kids, but in terms of like Olympics or thinking about that stuff, I could care less. And I think it's more about how it is for you. Each person, that's what skating is for you. And like, I don't think about it. So I just have fun, and that's what it is to me. It's this beautiful thing anyone can enjoy anywhere. I don't care about what people are saying about it, or it should or shouldn't do this, so it's your world, your mind, and how you view it for each person,
Dude, I love that, man. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, that's just my view,
Speaking of minds, I noticed that you've just recently started your own podcast called the Feeble Minded Podcast. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I just switched it to the Keep Pushing podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, not publicly, but it just makes sense with the Skate Across America and the sobriety and stuff. I was finding like people didn't. The feeble-minded thing with skaters, they got it because of the feeble. But if you don't skate, that's kind of like a negative connotation. Feeble-minded,
like you're weak of mind.
Yeah, exactly. People are they want to hop on board with that. Exactly.
What are you aiming to achieve with it? What's your basic premise?
Yeah, I mean, I just love hearing, like you, I'm sure, just hearing people's stories and, people that overcome difficult things, whether it's, making it in skating or sobriety. I had someone on who lost 180 pounds in like 18 months. So I just like hearing people overcoming things, and, that's really it.
Wow. Actually, I want to listen to that. I'm curious as to how they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
he was on like the Ellen show and all this stuff. It was like this huge thing.
Did he do it in a healthy way?
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, he talks about it. There's like different waves of it, but yeah.
Okay. That's so interesting. It's interesting, actually, like on a bit of a random tangent. I've been experimenting with fasting every couple of months. I won't eat for 3 days. And man, I tell you, in terms of like a biohack and making yourself feel better, I cannot get over how much better it makes me feel. Like not just physically, mentally. Like it's like my mind gets clear. I get this clarity. I don't get hungry after the first day. So, just something I've learned recently.
I had the same experience when I did keto, when I did carnivore, and when I fasted, all the same thing. You kind of just like get super sharp, right? It's weird. You get like more energy. You're like not like lagging and lazy. I don't know. For me, I'm just like dialed in, which you'd think, I'm not getting energy like from the food. You think it was the opposite, but I think not putting that stuff in there actually, it makes you have to focus, Yeah,
and it gives your digestive tract time to sort of reset and rest, and then your body uses that energy to heal instead of digesting. And I was like, oh wow, and I sort of have that mindset while I'm doing it, like my body's healing now, and it's going to places it hasn't been able to go because it's been digesting. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like you've experimented with like things like keto and carnivore diet. Is this all sobriety, part of your sobriety journey? Was that inspired by those things? Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say like exactly inspired, but there's a clear trajectory there. Like I never thought about it my whole life, dieting or eating healthy or anything, and then I quit drinking. And then, I'm a chain smoker. So a year later, my body just starts going like, what are you doing, dude? Like you're just like you're poisoning yourself. When you're drinking with it, you're just like, yeah, whatever, you don't even notice. But you start cleaning yourself out, and then the cigarettes eventually went. And then after that, I started eating healthy. You know what I mean? It was just like taking care of myself slowly. It's becoming clear,
That's so interesting. I would have never pictured you as a smoker.
Oh, yeah. I chain smoked 2 packs a day for like 10, 15 years. Yeah.
So interesting.
So as much as like I'm like positive, or like you were saying, like where do you get the energy from? Excited. I almost did the polar opposite. Like I would drink to shock people. Like I would go all in on smoking, or you know what I mean? I gave up 6 to 8 years of my life just focusing on drinking. Just like doing that. Like that's it. I did nothing else,
Such a waste. It's funny. I'm 11 years, and January actually next week I'm 11 years sober, and
congrats.
I woke up on New Year's Day this year without a hangover again, and I just was like, I just felt so good. And then I remember I lived near a beach, and I went down to the beach for an early morning swim, and there's people who'd been out all night, passed out on the beach, and I'm just like, oh man, so grateful, because they're going to lose a whole day. You lose days when you're hungover, and just feel like I got so much time back. And but it's funny, like I don't even think about it anymore. Like I don't think about alcohol. It's not even on my radar. I don't even actually, think about anything to do with it, except I just know I've started to refine what makes me feel good. It's like I tried like you, I tried biohacks like the keto diet and carnivore diet too. And I'm like, it worked a little bit. And I just feel like it's just an ongoing journey, and it just has levels. It just keep going up and up and up and up and up. And I know, sorry to talk a lot here, but I just feel like you're a really good example of that, because you've achieved something that no one else has really achieved. And you've inspired legions of people, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's just, yeah, I feel the same way about it. I'm just like 7 years ago, you told me I was going to have a Guinness record. Like, yeah, maybe for like drinking the most beers in like an hour or something. Yeah. I mean, not for something like prestigious or meaningful or like, you know what I mean? Like something actually challenging, you know? I don't know. I just didn't. Yeah, it's been crazy. The way I describe it is back to what you were saying. Like, instead of shooting up and then down, you just find like you're just perfectly steady and you get good at that and you understand it, and life actually becomes easy because it's just like neutral. And then actually it raises a little above the normal level. A little bit, you know what I mean? But it's still that steady thing. And over time, it keeps kind of increasing, like slowly, though, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I mean, I must admit, there is times when life gets really difficult and I'd like an escape, you know? But I find when I don't escape and have to just sit in it and work through it and get through that challenging situation, go to another level. I just, you know, it's just the growth. And I'd been missing out on that growth, you know, and yeah, I'm just profoundly grateful for it more and more, you know. And I've got children, so I think the biggest thing for me is like, you know, I have 2 young children and they've never seen me drink, you know, and so for me, that's just the most inspiring thing.
Yeah, it's insane. You're a great role model. You have time and energy, and you could focus and like be present, you know.
I know that you're somewhat of I feel like you're somewhat of an entrepreneur with your food truck and stuff, but you mentioned that you have a non-for-profit that you've started. Can you share about that?
Yeah, I actually didn't like publicly announce it yet, so this is like the first I'm talking about it, but it's called the Mini Ramp Foundation. So, yeah, so my goal is like, the only thing kind of like it that I know of is the skate park project, like Tony Hawk's you know, foundation. And I was just like, I've gotten so many parks built in my area and been a part of it and know the system, and it takes a long time and it's very expensive. So my goal is to just do like mini ramps, like, and fill the gaps in around the US, a skate park. So there's not 100, 200 miles in between where a kid could skate, and you can 10K, 20K. The town's just like, oh yeah, cool. It happens faster and it's easier, and just fill the states in with like, you know, mini ramp on concrete, skate park, like a little rail or something, maybe an awning, and that's it, you know?
Yes, dude. Yeah.
So it's still in the early stages. I've never done anything like this. Like I said, I'm a dropout, so I'm figuring out how to run a nonprofit, you know? It's like, it's an evolution, but I'm psyched, man.
You're not a dropout.
No, I technically.
Well, it's okay. I want to speak to that a little bit because I didn't go to university till I was like in my mid-20s, like later. But prior to that, I was like, I thought I was dumb and I thought that I needed to go to university. But in hindsight, you know, I don't really feel like I needed to. I just feel like I needed to be more motivated. And I used to think that was going to define me. But you don't get feelings like that?
I mean, the only thing I ever really thought about it was I probably, like, it would have helped me stay more disciplined when I'm working. Like, it teaches you how to learn, you know what I mean? And, like, I needed to learn that and, like, be able to sit down and really, you know, like, plug away at something instead of just, like, I don't know, going out and skating or going on some crazy trip, you know what I mean? So, that's really the only thing I think. I think I learned more lessons being out of school, dropping out, going to California. I learned tons of things from all those experiences.
Yeah, man. It's so good. So what are you going to call your new podcast? Keep Pushing?
Keep Pushing. Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Who was that skater filmmaker? Remember the Berrics used to do those Red videos? Red Camera, sponsored by Red Camera, and they'd pick like a really predominant skate filmer, and they would make a short clip. Forget who made one. They made it. It was called Keep on Pushing, and it had Chris Markovich and a bunch of guys just pushing in the streets.
That's awesome.
It was called Keep on Pushing. I'm going to look it up and share it with you.
Yeah, send it over to me.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. So, what do you think? like, what do you think's next for you aside from, what's happening in your life aside from the non-for-profit and the podcast? Where do you see yourself going in the next 5-10 years?
I mean, that's a good question. I would say, the nonprofit's like one of the main things. I have a documentary coming out for the Skate Across America. So this summer, spring, summer, do the whole festival run, try to get it in as many festivals as I can. Hopefully get some eyes on it. Hopefully get it like on a streaming service. That's my goal. And then I have like a show lined up, written all the episodes out, like filmed, they call it a sizzle for, like everything's ready to go with the show. So hopefully I can get that. But, that's shot in the dark like anything else,
Like a show as in like a TV show?
Yeah, like a Netflix series. That's the goal, something like that.
On your Push Across America or different?
No, like it's almost an extension of that. So the documentary would be separate from the show. Yeah.
Right.
But it would kind of embody the similar feeling of my Skate Across America. How I was meeting up with people and talking with them and,
Well, who filmed the documentary then?
I have a friend, John Testa. It's just basically him. He's got a company, Sixth Sense, and he flew out on his own dime and just like met me a couple of times throughout the way, filmed some things, met me at the end, and that's it.
Rad.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's made like a feature-length documentary.
I think it's about 40 minutes.
Okay.
We're still toying. There's a couple different versions too, but yeah, the one we have now is 40 minutes. So that's my goal. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd love to do that and like take it around everywhere. Maybe do a Q&A with it. Something like that, go to like theaters. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but we'll see where it goes.
Just love how I didn't expect you to be so like just casual about these things.
Really? Yeah. No, everything.
You just like, let's see what happens. Whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, where's it available?
All these ideas weren't like calculated or like I'm gonna make it. They're just like I do them and like that's it.
Would you say you're going with the flow of life?
Yeah. I think so.
Where can people find the documentary? Where is it available now? It's not available. It's not released yet. Okay.
Not yet. Yeah. So if they can catch it at a festival, which I'll post about like on Instagram, or like I said, when you're premiering a documentary, you can't like really show it in a theater. So once that's done, maybe I'll do a tour where maybe I'll go to Australia and play it in some theaters around there, something like that. Right. But until then, you got to catch a festival.
Rad. Yeah, Again, that'd be challenging, but amazing. But I also see it as an amazing legacy item, whether it's successful or not. You've produced this thing that will stand the test of time even when you're long gone. So what a great thing to leave in the world.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't think about that stuff. I try to do it like the best I can, and that's it. I leave it behind. I don't think about it again,
So good, dude. I love that. Dude, did you get the keys to the city when you finished?
No. They actually didn't hand me the keys to the city. They just gave me a day. It's called Chad Caruso Day. So I don't know if that's like technically the keys, but they didn't like literally hand me a set of keys. But
what city?
Virginia Beach. May 19th, the day I finished the Skate Across America, is Chad Caruso Day. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go there and like we'll do like a 10-mile skate if people are down, and we'll like I don't know.
So what was the date again?
May 19th.
May 19th. So that's Chad Caruso Day is only like 4 or 5 months away.
I remember I was just like, what? Like this isn't real. Like this is a joke.
Is there going to be pressure on you to do something that day now?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Probably. I'll show up and hopefully people want to skate with me. If not, I'll just do it by myself.
Are you like the Forrest Gump of skateboarding?
I've gotten that a lot. I don't think so. Yeah. I don't know. I had a stupid idea, and I enjoy stupid ideas where people are like, that's not possible. You're going to die. I'm like, all right. I think I got it. Yeah.
You must have felt that way when like everyone was following you towards the end though.
About what?
like when people were following you, like in that last leg, you had a whole group of skaters skating with you. You must have felt a little bit Forrest Gumpy.
I mean, I wasn't thinking about anything but that I was in awe that people were even there. I just couldn't believe that there was that many people there. I was just completely shocked because my girlfriend called me. She's like, should I come down from New York for the finish? And I was like, I don't know. It's like maybe like 10 people there, 5 people there, And there was like hundreds of people there. It's like dead wrong about that whole thing. Luckily, she came down. I just envisioned like one guy like interviewing me or something, and I don't know.
Like, what other feedback have you had though from people? Have they told you that you have given them a sense of hope?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten every message you could imagine from sober people, from people that want to get sober or wanted to go after an idea. People have told me they skated across their state, their country. I think there's a guy doing it in Japan right now or something. So I've gotten a bunch of messages about that, and yeah, it couldn't have went smoother or better. I didn't expect any of that because I did the 50 states thing. I fundraised for that. I didn't have enough money to make it on my trip. I just went for it and was like, hopefully people donate. And halfway through, luckily they did. So this trip kind of felt the same. Like I'm just going out on my own. Like hopefully it works, and I don't.
What were you going to do if they didn't, and you didn't have the money to pay for hotels and things? Were you just going to borrow it off family or something? Yeah,
you figure it out. You meet someone, you hop on a bus, you sell your car. I don't know. You figure it out.
How do you feel about material possessions?
I literally don't have anything, and I've given basically anything away that means anything. As you could tell with the board, a lot of people said they would never have let that go. I was just like, yeah, I don't care. I would have chucked it in the Atlantic.
What?
I was going to, but if there weren't so many people there, I would have just threw it right in the ocean. Yeah. My whole life, I think it comes from like my parents being into Buddhism and yoga, non-attachment, not really caring about material things. So, anything that was ever found that was meaningful to me, I would instantly just give it away and like try to make someone feel good or be selfless or, so that's just kind of got like integrated into my character. I don't even think about it.
Does your girlfriend share the same mindset?
No, not exactly.
Okay.
I mean, she's very kind and giving, but like, I don't think in the same way,
Okay. Yeah.
Not in the same, like she could just let go or, if her computer gets stolen, that's $3,000. I think she'd probably be upset, where I'd just be like, all right, whatever. Probably shouldn't have left it in the car. Like moving on,
I love it. And like, I just can't stop. Like, it's just making me laugh. Actually, I can't stop smiling, man. I love everything you're saying about that. I think I get very attached to stuff, and I've been working on that for years, man. Years. Like even
like practice. If you find something you really like, and you find yourself attached to it, challenge yourself. Like give it to someone.
Yeah. So maybe does it make you feel more liberated?
100%. Yeah, it'll change the way you view things too. It could just form a whole new pattern for how you view the world and view material things, And you'll see the joy of making someone else feel good just kills what any material thing could do for me. That material thing almost takes away from you, So by giving it, you'll flip it upside down by giving it away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At least in my experience. I don't know.
Interesting. There's a guy in Australia in the area that I live who was inspired by you. He's been on the podcast, Nathan Keeley. He's actually doing a skate. It's 300 kilometres. And for Australian listeners, they'll know the area. It's from a city called Port Macquarie to Newcastle. But he has no cartilage in his knees, has osteoarthritis.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Yeah, interesting. All right. There you go. Yeah. And man, he's just doing it to raise awareness for suicide prevention. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, again, so I just want to share that with you because we're on the other side of the world and there's some guy doing that because of something you did, bro. So
yeah, it's incredible. And, to think I hated the internet years ago, or like, people got things against it. Like, yeah, there's bad parts of it, but I try not to focus on that. Like, share what you can and be like, do what you wish it was. Like, what you wish the internet could be is that, like, someone seeing it and getting psyched and doing it and spreading something good,
Look, dude, I'm with you. And I get mainly positivity out of it. Even out of Instagram, I get some amazing DMs and connect with people. I mean, I connected with you, I think, that way. And I think where I get a bit concerned, though, is that I have to keep reminding myself it's not reality. It's just because you're chatting to someone in a DM or you're emailing regularly, it's not socializing. I'm sorry. And I feel very concerned sometimes that there's just a generation of people who are thinking that they're socializing because they've been DMing all day.
Yeah.
And, they're losing the art of conversation, the body language, and that's where I get being around people. And I think people just need to keep reminding themselves, use these things for positive, but still put them down and get out there and actually be with people.
It's funny you say that because, like, the other day I was just thinking about the comments, and as you start to grow, you start getting more an influx of just random people popping in that, like, just say whatever, and I have to remind myself, like, maybe it feels like people hate you or you're doing something wrong or something. You know what I mean? Like, people are, talking, saying nasty comments or whatever. And then I remember, wait, this literally happens 0 times in my life. Like, in the real world, not one person ever says anything negative to me or confronts me or has a bad moment with me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's weird thinking about the comments because it can skew your view of the world. You know what I mean?
Ah, yeah.
People are just sitting home, like, saying whatever. It could be little kids or someone. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so, I don't know. And it's a different world because you don't face consequences. So it's interesting. I'm like, wait, no. Every day my life's pretty good. Like, these comments don't mean anything,
Yeah, there's less accountability. If they say that to your face,
let me say, sorry, real quick. I don't want to say the comments don't mean anything. Because, you get good ones that are super meaningful. But, yeah, just wanted to make sure that was clear.
True. I mean, do you read comments on your YouTube or Instagram?
Yeah. I go in waves. Like when I did the Skate Across America, I was reading them and just laughing at people, like, just the wide variety of opinions, Like, it was just funny to see how many people who I'm doing this thing that technically has never been done, and how many people were experts and better than me at it. It was just, like, hysterical, They probably never even skateboarded,
That's so true. So true. Again, I think for me, what I just, as a skateboarder, I was just like, he's got to change those wheels out. I kept thinking that the whole time. But then, you didn't. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
I'm happy I didn't. I think it made the whole thing just, like, funnier, more interesting, more exciting. And then afterwards, you got this thing that just looks like, I don't know, like a piece of art. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It was just gritty and raw. That's what spoke to me, man. Just so raw. Like, didn't have a support crew. You had no one really, supplying you with stuff. You had this backpack and you had to plan your water out. There's a few times when you're in the desert and stuff and you had to, like, really plan your water. Was that one of the biggest challenges for you?
Yeah, definitely. Just going out into the middle of literally nowhere, like no cell service, no cars, like, just you in the blazing heat in all black. I like doing things to such a stripped down level, almost so people that would complain or say you couldn't have done it this way, I take away everything that you could have said, so there's no excuse, and you just be like, okay, I could do that too. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way for you to talk out of it. I just strip it all away. Like, oh, he changed his wheels 5 times. If he didn't do that, it wasn't possible. You know what I mean? I try to make, like, only with my phone by myself, like, you know what I mean? So anyone could relate to it. Anyone could do it themselves. Yeah. Broken knee, 38 years old, 36 years old. You know what I mean?
no money or
Yeah,
less
no
money,
money.
little, very
Exactly.
little
Like,
money.
same thing even with my YouTube channel. It's like I started it just with a phone from nothing, and I still do it that way just so people could know, like, you could do it too. No excuses. Like, you know.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember watching your vlogs and you were always like having trouble, like, oh, my battery just ran out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think there was one you almost landed the trick and then your battery died. Or you
Yeah.
landed it
I
and
mean,
the
that's
battery
happened hundreds of times. Yeah. Oh, man.
Love it, bro.
Phone just melting in the middle of Texas.
Man, what an absolute! I'm so glad I connected with you because, like, kind of not exactly what I expected. Actually, I didn't expect you to be so, like, I guess, casual about your achievements. So that's really inspired me. So thanks for that. And I just want to ask you this, and we talked about it the other day. I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate for, and I know you have your nonprofit. But is there any other things you'd like to advocate for today?
Yeah. So the nonprofit I donated to when I skated across America was Natural High. And they're in classrooms in all 50 states, and they help kids find a passion, like skating or something like that, and focus on that instead of drugs and alcohol. So kind of like the cause that helped me, you know?
Amazing. So I'll put a link to that in this episode's show notes. So scroll down, click on it, and see how you can, donate or maybe even be involved if there's a way. I always think that volunteering your time is more important than giving money if you do have it. So thanks for sharing that one, brother.
No, thanks. That's a great idea. I like that.
Rad, man. Is there anything else you wanna share? You think anything you want to end on? You want to end on anything?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, anyone thinking about getting sober, just do it. Rip it off like a Band-Aid and your life will completely change. Like it can't get worse,
Yeah.
So I'd say just go for it and, enjoy the ride. It'll be uncomfortable in the beginning, but it'll get better.
Awesome, man. Mr. Chad Caruso, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you so much for having me on.